just left the wood yard because I'm kind of in a hurry this morning. I got a text last night for order for firewood, so I went right away this morning, threw it in real quick, and I'm delivering it because the guy's only going to be home, he said, for about like an hour. So I wanted to get it there this morning because it's supposed to rain this afternoon. So I told him, I said, I'll bring it right away, and he's a past customer, so he was fine with me bringing it right away. He has to go somewhere. So anyway, I wanted to get it delivered. So I don't know if you can see it, but there it is in the back. It's loaded. Hopefully you can see it. And when I get back from this delivery, I'm going to be doing some wood stacking today. So nothing real exciting other than making money. Just the usual, which is just fine. So I'm on my way, and when I get there, I'm gonna throw it off and then turn around and burn right back because I've got a lot of things I got to get to today, besides doing some stacking. I got some other stuff to do in my other business, so we'll see you in a little bit. Bye. I'm back. Got done with my delivery, got some cash in the pocket. No Uncle Benjamins though, just a bunch of Jacksons. But Jacksons are good too, as long as you get them in bunches. Okay, so here's the wood that I stacked yesterday, there and there. And I don't know how much I'm gonna get done, but I'm gonna do as much as I can on this pile right over here. I'm gonna work on trying to dig into this massiveness and stack it right here and make it look like this. So yeah, that's to the west and it's coming towards us. There's storms coming, as they say. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll get, I'm thinking, you know, a couple, 3 hours maybe before it rains. And we'll see. It might not even amount to much. They said it could dissipate. Could be north, could be south. I don't know. Weatherman's usually not right, you know. Usually. So here we go. Stacking time. Storm is coming, so I don't know how much time I'm going to have. Well, it looks like I might have another 10-15 minutes and then I'm going to get drenched. But I thought I'd show you something. I took a break here to get something to eat, and I thought I'd show you something I'm doing on these stacks. Now, I stack my wood pretty high, as you can see. Right here is the ground coming up, and you can see the wood up on top of me here. So I go basically as high as I can reach. And the way I do that is I just obviously do my crisscrossing on the corners here, like this and like this here. I try to have things kind of arch in, and then I just make my runs as long as I can, which is usually like 3 or 4 pallets worth here. I think I got 4 pallets down here. And that usually is big enough that I come out to where I can still get up to it with my trailer and everything. So that's about how long I'm making them. I think it's like 13 or 14 feet long, something like that. But what I wanted to show you here on the back side is that to make them more stable, I always put locking pieces in when I go real high, and that's what this is right here. I just cut a stick and it's jammed right in here. Then I jam it real far into the logs that are on, or the pieces that are on top of it. And then I put a whole bunch of wedges around it to wedge it in tight, so it's really locked in tight. And I did that down here with a piece. This piece right here runs into there ways and then into there. And then I got another big one out here. Come back around so you can see. And this is jammed in here all the way, probably a full chunk of wood, the length of it. And then I'm gonna run it all the way through here, so it's eventually I'll have wood underneath it, wood on top of it, and it'll even go over to the next row. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put a piece that's got a branch on it sticking out, and I'll lock that right into the row. So what that does is it ties both of the piles together across the top. And I find when I do that, they're much more solid because I am going so high. Because I mean, it's, as you can see, I'm standing down here on ground level right now, and you can see how high these pieces are. I mean, it's got to be close to 8 feet high as I'm reaching. And as I'm stacking, I always kind of rock the pile back and forth to make sure that it's steady. And if you get any kind of like where it feels like it's going to go, I'll put one of these in across and tie it off so that it's tight. or I just won't go as high with that piece. But generally, if you look at your pieces while you're stacking and you try to get them so that your pieces lock into each other, you know, like when you're stacking, so it's not just thrown into a pile, that seems to help. And then the other thing I do is like this one right here, I'll show you. Every once in a while I'll take a piece like this, a little skinny guy here, and I'll shove it into the other pile and I'll put pieces on top of that. So what that does is it locks everything together a lot better, and it kind of firms everything up. Another thing I do, see if I can find one over here. I know I did one somewhere. Right here. What I do when I get a piece that rocks a little bit, when I'm first building my corner, as you can see here, I'll stick a wedge into it and I'll make this piece so it doesn't rock at all. And I did one down here too. I shove these in, and what that does is it just puts a little more pressure and levels it off so it doesn't rock at all. And I do that once I get a little bit, you know, above it. I'll be up in here and I'll see it has a little bit of give, and I'll just lift this up and kind of jam it in there. And this one I kind of pound it in. Let's go over here and see on this pile if I did it over here at all. They don't always do it. No, it doesn't look like on that corner. At least I don't see anything. Let's go over to this one. This is the one I did the other day. And I don't see any wedges in here either. Yeah, it looks like everything's just locked in. So yeah, if you test your pieces as you're going and try to make sure they're as flat as possible, usually you don't run into that problem. So anyway, there you go. I think the rain is just, I felt a couple sprinkles. It's coming. It's really, really dark to the north and to the west. It's kind of all around me here. So I'm going to work for a little while and then probably have to run for the shelter. Well, friends, it's the next day. I got rained out yesterday. I thought I could come back out, but it had the monsoon came, it rained real hard, and then it kind of rained for another, I don't know, 2-3 hours, something like that, just kind of on and off. So I never came back out. So today's the next day and we're gonna get back at it. Unfortunately, yesterday was a better day heat-wise. It was only like about 65, maybe 70 degrees tops. And now it's like, I don't know, 9:30 in the morning, and it's already like 82 degrees, and it's supposed to get up to like 91 today. So not a good day. I'm in the shade right now, which is kind of nice. I'm on the opposite side of where I'm going to be stacking. That's where I'm going to be stacking, over there in the sun. I'm not the brightest person on the planet, as you can tell, because I'm going to work out in the sun during the hottest part of the day. I only have about 4 or 5 hours here, and then I got to go do a job in my other business. So what I'm going to do is attack the pile. A couple things I mentioned yesterday about doing my corners. The other thing is that as I pull pieces out of the pile, if I find a piece like these right here that are bone dry, that I can just tell when I, like this one I know was probably dry when I split it because it was just a quarter, this chunk right here. And these here, you can tell they're really light. They're kind of almost a little bit punky, and there's a couple pieces in here that aren't even oak, that are super dry. I throw those into a pile here because I'll be able to sell those right away. I'll be able to deliver them. I get calls all the time now, and I'm basically out of dry wood. The other thing I do is I take all of my pieces and chunks, the shorties, things like that that are in a pile, and I throw them, I try to toss them right into the wheelbarrow as I go, so they're not just on the ground. And then I'm going to wheel them back over to the, if you look way back there, you can see the cookie pile way in the back there where I got all the odd chunks. That's where I'm going to take those. And something that people ask me about is, what do I listen to while I'm out here stacking? I have a couple different boom boxes, and I just set them around wherever. Sometimes I listen to music, but most of the time talk radio or podcasts. Sometimes I'll put my phone on and earbuds in, and I listen to podcasts too. I like to learn while I work. Music kind of gets old after a while. I mean, it's nice sometimes, but I like to get information put into my ears as much as I can, so that's what I do. So anyway, we're gonna hit the pile here and do some stacking. Well, I thought I'd stop, take a little bit of a break, and show you something I'm thinking about. When I'm stacking from the big pile to my piles that I have stacked, what I try to do is I try to take the stuff off the top, the stuff that's up high that's been in the sun, because this stuff's been here for, I don't know, 3 months now, something like that. I try to put it on the bottom, pretty much. And then the top, I try to put the real wet stuff, the stuff that's wet like this. And the reason I do that is because obviously, if you look at this pile, the top, this is about 6 feet high, this pile right here. The top part of it is dry, well not dry, but much drier. You can see it's getting sun bleached and everything. Down a good couple feet, those pieces feel real dry. Then the middle right here, you can tell it's stuff that needs to be dried. But the bottom, like 2 feet at least, it's just soaking wet, if you can see it. And I mean, there's even mold growing on pieces like that. There's some mushrooms starting to grow in some certain spots. But look at this piece here, you can see it's starting to dry up. This is all mold on there. Yeah, and some of these pieces over here, you can see mold on it. See some fungus growing there and here. And like up in that piece. This piece has got a bunch on it. So I'm trying to put those pieces up higher and get them so that they can get as much wind and sun as possible. So that's what I try to do. It's not always perfect, but in general, that's what I'm doing. So that's why you got to get the stuff off the ground, whether you stack it or put it on gravel and don't get your piles really very high. But these piles here, the pile you see over here, that's probably 8 feet high. And down on the bottom, it just, because all the rain goes down to it, plus this is a low area right here, it does not dry in there at all. And I've had stuff where I've left it in piles years ago thinking, oh, it'll be fine, you know, but you get down to the bottom and it, even after a whole year, it wakes so much moisture up from the bottom, plus all the rain that goes down through it just sits in there, it doesn't dry out. So the only other thing you can do is if you've got machinery and you've got, like I say, you're on blacktop, or if you're on cement slabs, or if you're on packed gravel, you can turn your piles over with end loaders and whatever kind of machinery you have, or even a tractor, and just scoop it, move it around and fluff it up, which is what a lot of people do with big equipment, but I'm not that big yet as far as having a lot of equipment. It is warm out. It's 91 degrees right now. I am sweating like a hooker in church. I'm kind of wet, but I only got about another 2 hours and then I got to go do a job for my other business. So I just thought I'd show you that. We're going to get back to stacking right now. Okay, that pile is done. I got it as high as I could get it, and I got most of the wet stuff up high, I think. So the next thing I'm going to do, I only got about an hour left, is I'm going to clean up all this bark and sawdust and wood chips and chunks and branches and all this stuff out of this area so that I can then bring in 4 more pallets. I'll separate them by, I don't know, a couple feet, whatever. I'll leave a little space between this pile and the next pile. Run it that way, and then I'll start stacking the next pile. So I got, on this side, I've got 2 done now. And there they are, a thing of beauty. So I will be back and I'll do some cleanup in just a minute. You'll see. Well, friends, that is it for today. I have to go get cleaned up and go do some work on my other business, but here's what I got done. I got that stacked on over here on this pile, and I got this all cleaned out, so tomorrow morning I can put in some pallets and keep going that direction into the pile. So I'm glad I get to go do some work in air conditioning now. Oh, it's about 93 right now in the sun, and I'm soaked and very uncomfortable, and I'm glad. That's all I'm going to do for today. So thanks for watching. Please hit the buttons. You know what to do. I'll see you tomorrow. Same wood time, same wood channel. Good night, Irene.